Hello and welcome back to City Skylines Better Cities. I was playing on this map for almost 2 years and there was always quite a few things that I wanted to build, but due to my laptop limitations I wasn't really able to do it. But recently I've built a proper PC, so now we're talking. And I decided to start the improvements for my city with building up the infrastructure that we're going to need for the city. That will include the highway connections, railways, harbors, including the cargo harbor. We're going to build a new airport and a brand new industry, as well as the education facilities, pretty much everything. I've built my city. My city used to be a mess for quite a bit, and then I decided to just demolish most of the things, create a basic city plan for what we're going to build, and yeah, and now we don't have anything. We don't have enough education. We don't have enough. We don't have enough public transit. We don't have anything. So that's pretty much the original city, but we're starting fresh. So for this particular episode, I decided to start with a passenger harbor because I recently found a really cool looking asset, and we're gonna use them in this episode. For now, like most of the city, most of the things you see are just pretty much placeholders, like construction site props and things like that. And let's see if we can place the harbor where I wanted it to be, and seems like we can. I'm not entirely sure if the asset is going to work. It consists of two separate assets, two unique buildings. So one of them is the actual harbor, the one we just placed. And the other one is the terminal that doesn't really, it just functions like a unique building. Just to make it look like a proper harbor, and let's see how that's going to work out. There are also a couple of things that are going to change for the channel itself. I still didn't decide whether I prefer live plays or time-lapse videos with voiceover. But given that the harbor took quite a bit of time, I decided to stick with the time-lapse because I've changed quite a few things in the end, and at first I actually thought that the harbor is not going to function as a harbor, so we might need another one just as a backup. Turns out it's not necessarily the case. And I also want to do some very basic detailing for the area to make it look nice and make it look like a real place. And then we're also going to think about the bus service and everything that's going to connect to our passenger harbor. I also want to keep the bus depot on this side of the city, but we're definitely going to move it to a different location. We're going to try to place it somewhere behind the harbor itself. And I'm trying to get sort of a cul-de-sac where they can get a U-turn. I don't know, maybe we'll just do a roundabout, we'll see how that goes. And then I also had a bit of an issue with the mod, so there was some kind of interference from the mod where I couldn't pan the camera to the right because one of those buttons was used by a mod or something. That was absolutely weird. And the more updates you get, the more mods you get, the more issues you get with the game. I still didn't get the financial district DLC, and I didn't get the hotel and retreats thing. I'm still hesitant because I do appreciate the DLCs coming out so often, but it messes up the game completely. So by the end of the day, I don't know if the update is going to be worth it. I mean, the mods are updating quite fast, that's a good thing. A huge thank you to the modding community who keep all the mods up to date and trying to catch up with all the updates. But still, every time I'm just worried. I've been on this map for like 2 years. I'm really worried that it's just gonna ruin the entire game, and then everything's just a waste. So as you can see here, back to the harbor. As you can see here, I thought that the harbor wasn't functioning properly, so I decided to add a regular passenger harbor just in case. But turns out it just took a little bit longer for it to start functioning. We didn't get any passengers, and sort of later down the road the issue resolved itself. And here is our bus depot with a square bout, roundabout. Yeah, so they need a place for a U-turn. That's what we're gonna do here, and then let's see what's the road layout is gonna be like. Oh, I also decided to add some of the tourist buses and walking tours. Walking tours can wait until later once we have actual walkable places. For the bus tours, I decided to start right away since we have the Harbour in place. And now we're going to do some basic detailing on the areas in front of the Harbour building. I didn't really want to do anything too complicated. I'm not that big on detailing. I just want to make sure that the areas look nice and look like a real place, and there is benches and places for people to hang out, some shades and stuff like that. I don't really want to go too deep into detailing, at least for now. But it is possible that we're going to do something like that later on. Now we have enough RAM, now we have proper spec that would probably allow for using more props and resources. By the way, don't forget to check out the video about the prop limit in City Skylines. That thing, before I started detailing here, that thing was just absolutely killing me. It's really, really annoying. I don't know what happened there. But we did solve the problem, so check out the video in the top corner. So check out the video in the top right corner. I wanted to place some flower beds and stuff like that, but I don't really have enough custom assets. I'm not a big fan of vanilla assets. They just look a little bit crappy, to be honest. And the trees that we're placing here are the trees that I found on the workshop. They're really nice chestnut trees. I just ended up placing them all over the city just because they look really, really nice. It's a high quality asset. I wanted to create like an additional place for people to hang out around. I wanted to do this weird looking triangular square, but I don't think we're going to stick with it because yeah, it's not really, as you can see, it's not really working out. So we're almost done with the entire build. The only thing that I'm probably going to change with this is the look of the area for pedestrians, the squares, because that's not exactly what I was aiming for, but yeah, I get new ideas as I go. And now I was under the impression that the Harbour wasn't functioning really well, but I still want to see what it's going to look like when we actually have the ships coming in. So I just placed one of the props, and now let's take a look at what have we got in the end. And it's not looking all that great so far. I think we're still going to do a couple of minor tweaks to make sure that it's functioning properly. And I also want to change the road in front of the Harbour building itself. So for that, there's a mode, I believe it's called Touch It, so you can change any road network into whatever you want. And now we actually started having ships coming in, so that's the good news. So the Harbour is actually functioning. We're not really going to need the old original in-game Harbour building. Yeah, so this is pretty much what it's going to look like for now. If you have any ideas on how to improve the build, if you have any suggestions for improvements, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.